be honest, like, I'm not like these other reality people. Like, I'm a real bona fide 5-time Emmy nominated journalist. Difference. So for me, I am not comfortable publicly saying or calling someone else a liar without knowing the legitimate facts.
The mogul's mask. Did Tamar just shatter Kandi's empire? Atlanta's social scene is currently a war zone following the explosive news that Kandi Burrus has officially filed for divorce from Todd Tucker after 11 years of marriage. But the split itself isn't what has the internet in a chokehold. It's the exposure video from Tamar Braxton that allegedly names the real reason for the fallout. In a digital era where receipts are the only currency, Tamar didn't just kick the door down, she blew the hinges off. With Kandi already in tears over Todd's shocking legal counterclaim for primary custody and a contested prenup, Tamar's newest allegations have added a layer of scandal that no one saw coming. The exposure highlights the white wife allegation. Tamar allegedly claims that Kandi hasn't just been busy in NYC, she's been living a double life with a mystery partner who looks nothing like the image Kandi sells to her fans. Todd's quiet exit. Rumors suggest Todd didn't just grow apart from Kandi, but that he has been sitting on a secret that could dismantle the entire Old Lady Gang brand. Jaguar Wright's playbook. Wright has entered the chat, claiming she has the suburban receipts that prove Kandi's 11-year marriage was the most successful PR production in Bravo history. Are you ready to find out if Kandi's tears are for her marriage, or for the truth that Tamar just leaked to the masses? This is part 1 of the story, The Mogul and the Mask. In this chapter, we explore how the most ironclad marriage in Atlanta began to splinter, and how an old rival's words turned a private divorce into a public exposure. The Mogul and the Mask, The Atlanta Fracture. By January 2026, the city of Atlanta was no longer just the capital of the South. It was the epicenter of a high-stakes celebrity fallout. On one side was Kandi Burrus, the mogul, the Grammy winner, and the real housewife, who had spent 11 years building an impenetrable image of financial and domestic stability. On the other side was Tamar Braxton, the love and war siren whose history with Kandi was a decade-long saga of circuses and clowns. The tension between the two had simmered since their days on Celebrity Big Brother, but in late 2025, the apple pie sweetness of the Atlanta elite soured completely. The shocking split, the foundation of the drama, was laid on November 21, 2025, when Kandi Burrus officially filed for divorce from Todd Tucker. The news sent shockwaves through the industry. For a decade, Kandi and Todd were the standard, blended family that turned Old Lady Gang into a restaurant empire and Broadway success. But the divorce papers hinted at a darker reality. Kandi reportedly discovered that Todd had been talking to other women behind her back for months. Todd didn't go quietly. By December 2025, legal documents leaked revealing a nuclear counterstrike. Todd was not only challenging the validity of their ironclad prenuptial agreement, claiming he signed it under pressure, but he was also seeking primary physical custody of their children, Ace and Blaze. The mogul who always had a plan was suddenly in tears, watching her carefully constructed world dismantle in the public eye. The Tamar exposure. As Kandi navigated the emotional wreckage of her divorce, Tamar Braxton entered the chat with a receipt that no one saw coming. During a raw interview with Nene Leakes, a woman who had her own complex history with Kandi, Tamar didn't just kick the door down. She blew the hinges off the Tucker brand. The rumor, amplified by viral T channels, centered on a shocking allegation: the white wife theory. Tamar, referencing Kandi's frequent trips to New York for her Broadway productions, including the 2025 run of & Juliet, allegedly hinted that Kandi hadn't just been working in the city. The claim suggested that Kandi had a secret support system, a white woman who was allegedly her true partner in a double life. "Y'all think Todd is the one with the secrets?" Gossip channels quoted Tamar as saying. Todd was just the one who finally got tired of playing the leading man in a movie that was actually a lesbian romance. She's been protecting a whole different narrative in the suburbs of New York, while Todd was holding down the fort in Atlanta. Jaguar Wright's suburban receipts. Jaguar Wright, the self-proclaimed gatekeeper of industry secrets, immediately weaponized the narrative. In a marathon live stream titled "The Peach is Rotten," Wright alleged that Kandi's divorce wasn't about Todd's cheating at all. "Tamar told the truth," Wright shouted to her viewers. "Kandi has a whole work wife who turned into a life wife. She's been living in a secret NYC residence with a woman who looks nothing like the culture she sells to us. Kandi is crying because she knows the power couple brand was the only thing keeping the money flowing. Todd is only asking for that money now because he knows exactly who was really in that bed. Wright claimed to have seen leaked security footage and financial records that showed Kandi funneling money into a lifestyle that didn't include Todd. The implication was that Kandi's crying on her Amazon Live sessions wasn't for her marriage, but out of fear that her 11-year PR production was about to be exposed as a fraud. The work wife, Counterstrike Kandi's camp quickly pushed back, dismissing the lesbian white wife claim as a homophobic and desperate reach. They insisted that the woman in question was a high-level executive and a close friend who had helped Kandi secure her Tony Award nominations. They characterized Tamar's words as bitter retaliation for Kandi calling her a clown in the past. However, the damage was done. By late January 2026, the image of Kandi Burrus, the untouchable boss, had been replaced by a woman in the middle of a messy, multi-layered scandal involving her sexuality, her money, and her motherhood. This is part 2 of the story, the nuclear option. In this chapter, the battle moves from the court of public opinion to the court of law, as Todd Tucker launches a counterstrike that threatens to dismantle the Kandi Burrus empire piece by piece. The nuclear option, the legal bloodbath. By December 2025, the amicable divorce Kandi Burrus had initially hoped for was officially dead. While she had entered the proceedings asking for joint custody and an orderly division of assets, Todd Tucker responded with a legal filing that industry insiders called the nuclear option. Todd's counterstrike. The prenup war. Todd didn't just contest the divorce. He attacked the very foundation of Kandi's financial security, the prenuptial agreement. Todd's legal team filed documents alleging that he was blindsided and pressured into signing the 2014 agreement just moments before their televised wedding. He claimed that the final version of the document was handed to him without his own legal counsel present, rendering it unenforceable. If the judge agreed, Kandi's massive fortune, built on decades of Grammy-winning songwriting, restaurant chains, and sex toy empires, would be wide open for a 50/50 split. Kandi's response was swift and iconic. Her lawyers filed an amended petition on December 1, 2025, using Bravo's own footage against him. They pointed to the Kandi's wedding spin-off, where Todd is seen on camera explicitly stating he was good to sign after consulting with his attorney. She's literally using the show that made him famous to prove he's a liar, one ATL blogger remarked. The custody trap. While the money was a major factor, the most painful blow came in Todd's request for primary physical custody of their children, Ace and Blaze. Todd argued that Kandi's career, specifically her recent Broadway ventures like & Juliet, kept her away from the home for months at a time. He alleged that while Kandi was in New York playing producer, he was the one acting as the primary caregiver. This was the moment Kandi finally broke on camera. During an Amazon Live session in late December, she addressed the custody battle with tears in her eyes. "I show up for my kids, I show up for my business, and I show up for my friends, all while I'm emotionally broken on the inside," she told her followers. "To have my work ethic used as a weapon against my motherhood is the lowest of the low." Tamar's suburban secret gain. As Kandi's emotional state became public, Tamar Braxton's exposure began to take on a life of its own. Tamar leaned into the rumors that Todd's custody request wasn't just about Kandi being busy, but about where she was spending her time. The rumor mill, fueled by Tamar's cryptic social media likes and Jaguar rights receipts, alleged that Todd knew about a secret NYC residence Kandi shared with a female companion. Wright claimed that Todd's legal strategy was to shame Kandi back into a settlement. "He knows about the white wife," Wright alleged in a January 2026 live. "He's telling the court she's an absentee mother because she's building a new life with someone else in Manhattan. He's not just asking for the kids. He's asking for hush money to keep the NYC files sealed." The NYC friend identity. The mystery woman was eventually identified by internet sleuths as a high-level Broadway executive who had been seen in the background of Kandi's Tony Award celebration photos. While Kandi's team insisted the relationship was strictly professional and that the woman was a mentor and business partner, Tamar poked fun at the mentorship during an interview. "I've had mentors before," Tamar quipped, "but I didn't move into a penthouse with them while my husband was at the old lady gang signing checks." Conclusion. The mogul at bay. As January 2026 draws to a close, Kandi Burrus is no longer the untouchable boss. She is a woman fighting a two-front war, a legal battle to protect her millions and her children from Todd, and a PR battle to protect her image from Tamar's lesbian allegations. Todd Tucker has successfully flipped the script. He is no longer Kandi's husband. He is a father demanding primary rights and a man claiming he was manipulated by a mogul. But Kandi has one card left to play, a secret recording from the set of The Real Housewives of Atlanta that could prove Todd was the one living a double life all along. This is part 3 of the story, the Broadway betrayal. In this final chapter, we uncover the truth behind the NYC secret, the fallout from Todd's primary custody request, and the final exposure that threatens to rewrite the history of the Burruss Tucker empire. The Broadway betrayal, the final curtain by January 29, 2026. The legal war between Kandi Burrus and Todd Tucker had officially moved from amicable to scorched earth. While Kandi had spent the winter of 2025 performing in the Broadway hit and Juliet, her personal life was becoming a tragedy more dramatic than any stage play. The real reason for the split, according to court documents and industry leaks, wasn't just Todd's alleged cheating. It was the NYC secret that Tamar Braxton had hinted at and Jaguar Wright had exposed to millions. The Broadway alibi, the rumor mill alleged that Kandi's frequent trips to New York, initially framed as business, and securing her exit, were actually a cover for a deep, personal transition. Tamar Braxton, during a live session, allegedly quipped that Kandi wasn't just producing plays, she was playing house. Jaguar Wright's final exposure claimed that Todd's demand for primary physical custody of Ace and Blaze was a strategic move to force Kandi to address her secret NYC residence. Wright alleged that Kandi had been sharing a penthouse with a female companion who was a high-level Broadway financier. Todd isn't asking for the kids because he wants to be a stay-at-home dad, Wright claimed. He's asking because he knows Kandi can't admit where she's really living without destroying her Family First brand in Atlanta. Todd's quiet settlement demand by late January 2026, insiders reported that Todd Tucker had offered a settlement. He would drop the custody battle and the challenge to the prenuptial agreement in exchange for a $15 million lump sum and a mutual non-disparagement clause that would prevent Kandi from ever publicly naming his alleged mistresses. Kandi, however, refused to blink. On January 6, 2026, during a somber 10th birthday celebration for their son Ace, Kandi was seen without her ring and surrounded by her real support system, Mama Joyce and Riley. Kandi's team leaked that they had a New York recording, a doorbell camera video from Kandi's NYC residence that allegedly showed Todd showing up unannounced and making a scene that proved he was the one harassing her new life. The Tamar versus Kandi final face-off. The saga reached its peak when Tamar Braxton and Kandi Burrus reportedly crossed paths at a private industry event in mid-January. Witnesses claim Tamar didn't back down from her lesbian claims, allegedly telling Kandi to be free and be real. Kandi's response was a masterclass in mogul energy. She allegedly ignored the comments and simply asked her security to ensure Tamar wasn't in her photo line. The crying that fans saw from Kandi on her recent Amazon Live sessions wasn't just about Todd. It was the weight of an 11-year marriage being reduced to a PR stunt by her rivals. Kandi admitted, "I've spent my life protecting everyone else's secrets. I forgot that the person I was protecting most was the person I should have been protecting myself from." Conclusion: the legacy of the peach as part 3 ends. The Burruss Tucker divorce remains the most expensive and explosive in Atlanta history. Kandi Burrus is successfully rebranding as a solo Broadway powerhouse, leaning into her new chapter in New York. Todd Tucker is fighting to remain relevant in a world where he is no longer the husband of the mogul, clinging to a custody battle that most legal experts say he will lose. Tamar Braxton has successfully exposed the cracks in the empire, but at the cost of being labeled the villain once again by the Bravo fanbase. The White Wife remains a mystery, the NYC penthouse remains a headline, and the Old Lady Gang remains a testament to what Kandi and Todd built before the curtain fell. The mogul's mask. Did Tamar just shatter Kandi's empire? Atlanta's social scene is currently a war zone following the explosive news that Kandi Burrus officially filed for divorce from Todd Tucker on November 21, 2025. But the split itself isn't what has the internet in a chokehold. It's the rumors swirling around Kandi's frequent trips to NYC and the exposure commentary from her longtime rival, Tamar Braxton. In a digital era where receipts are the only currency, the fallout has turned toxic. With Kandi already in tears over Todd's shocking legal counterclaim for primary physical custody and his attempt to throw out their 11-year prenup, the narrative has shifted from an amicable split to a total industry takedown. The exposure highlights the NYC secret. Rumors have intensified that Kandi's time in New York for her Broadway hits like And Juliet wasn't just for business. Commentators have alleged she's been living a double life, while Todd claims her out-of-state obligations make him the only viable primary parent. Todd's nuclear option. Todd is challenging the ironclad prenup he signed on camera in 2014, claiming duress. Kandi has reportedly fired back by using RHOA footage of him, saying he was good to sign as evidence in court. Tamar versus Kandi. Tamar Braxton has reportedly leaned into the drama, fueling claims that Kandi's Family First brand was a PR shield. Jaguar Wright has entered the chat, alleging she has receipts that will dismantle the Burruss legacy forever. Are you ready to find out if Kandi's tears are for her marriage or for the empire Tamar is trying to tear down?